everybody. Welcome to episode 12 of Game Night Date Night. So that means we've been doing this for a year now. This is our 12th episode, and we've been doing it once a month. So happy anniversary. And Game Night Date Night is in collaboration with Games and Couples. And I really like what Games and Couples do. They do couple counseling, utilizing board game as a tool and a way to help couples connect, reconnect, and stay connected. In fact, I want to mention real quick, we just finished recording our Valentine's Day special for the podcast, The Board Game Specialist, with Colin from Games and Couples. And I'm blown away with just everything he had to say. It was just so amazing. Be sure to give that a listen because it was just eye-opening and so enlightening, everything he was saying, and in relation to board game as well, so that was great. Now, one of the things that Games and Couple have done is they've created a rating system to help decide which board game would best suit a couple depending on where they're at. And this rates on 3 different topics. So it'll rate on conversation and connection potential. Some games, there's so much going on. It's so action-packed that there's really no opportunity to hold a conversation. While other game is more relaxed and you can, have great quality conversation during that time. The next one is on the getting to know you. So how much will a game reveal from your partner as you're playing the game? Some plays very much, you do your things, they do their things, so there's really not a whole lot of opportunity for that, while other games definitely are more revealing. And the last thing that we rate on is potential for hurt feelings and conflict. Let's face it, most games is you battle to be the winner. So in that goal, it can't be possible that other people get hurt or upset. So and depending on where you are in a relationship, maybe that's something that's okay. Maybe it's something that isn't okay, and things would flare up easy. So you may want to avoid that. And then this is something that can help with deciding whether a game is suitable for a couple or not. Now, this month, I've talked about 4 games. I've been doing the game of the week every week. And what I've done this month is I've kind of picked games that you can match up with the movie. Me and my partner, we love to do that. We'll do a whole theme evening, kind of really make the game day more of a date. And we'll be playing a game and then go watch a movie that kind of follows that same suit. So really creates a neat atmosphere for the day. Or, watch a movie and be like, all right, let's go play the game version of this. So every game that I'm talking about in this episode is also gonna be matched with a movie to go along with it. So first game is Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. So let me go over the rating first of all. So for conversation and connection potential, I'm giving this one a 2 out of 5. You're doing your own thing. They're doing their own things in this game. So you got your stuff. You've got the cards. You're creating your tableau because it's an engine building. And you're kind of keeping track of the resources that you have. So you're so busy kind of concentrating on what's going on your board. You're not even really paying attention to what the other player is doing all that much. And so there's not tons and tons of conversation happening while playing this game. In the getting to know you, I'm giving this one a 4 out of 5 because it is interesting to see. Because you're like, okay, I've done this. Like, what did you do? He's like, oh, you went for that. Oh, I got this. And then you also pick at the beginning of your turn which action you want to activate. Now, if you both pick different things, both action will get activated. But the one you picked, you'll have a little bit extra things you can do with it. If you pick the same one, then that's the only action that's gonna happen this round. So it'll be interesting to see, well, I'm kind of really concentrating on doing this, or, if they're, how the strategies that they'll follow. So it can be fairly revealing that way, and what they're going to concentrate on, which action they're going to select. So hurt feelings and conflict, I'm giving this one a 1 out of 5. There's very little that they can do that's going to interfere with your game and vice versa. The action they're selecting, sure, the cards that they're drafting, it's not really going to affect you all that much. There's not a lot of take that element into this game at all. but it's a great game. Now let me show you another view here. So the board, now this board is amazing, first of all, because you have like the recessed, so the cubes that you have on there are like fit into it so they don't move around accidentally. That was a problem with the first version of Terraforming Mars. Now I had some 3D overlays kind of printed, so that kind of fixes that, but they've kept that in mind when they've created this one. You have a tiny little map of Mars, and then you're trying to, I guess you're building or creating oceans, and then you get to claim the oceans when you do. You got your money resources that you're keeping track of. And as I mentioned, this is an engine building, so you'll be adding cards that'll do different things. And some of them will be like, okay, so when you do this action, you can activate all the cards that have bacteria on them. And then you're kind of like, or, if you buy a card that has this symbol on it, you can add a plant over here, and then for each plant you have, it's going to be worth so many points. And it's neat. It's neat, it's fun, it's interesting. Now, supposedly, Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition is supposed to be a faster version than Terraforming Mars, the original board game. When I played it, I think it took us 3 hours. Now, granted, it was our first time playing it, and we were using a diced tutorial, so it was great because it taught us how to play. We didn't have to open the rule book at all. It was just kind of following that along. But is it possible that it made things a little bit longer? Possible. Now, that being said, that it took 3 hours, it did not feel like it was 3 hours at all. We were playing it and it was like, wow, this was so cool, and it was done. So after we finished playing this game, we looked at each other, it's like, I kind of want to watch The Martian now. So, and that's what we did. So we went ahead and started watching the movie The Martian with Matt Damon. This is such a neat movie. There's a team of scientists sent to Mars to kind of do some research and different programs or projects that they have there. And turns out a horrible storm is coming, so they have to abort and they leave. But somebody got hurt and presumed dead, but he didn't. He didn't die. He just comes to, and then now he's all alone in Mars. It's a great, great movie. So it was a lot of fun. Now, the next board game that I talked about this month was Narcos. So, this is a really questionable theme, and I get that. And it's funny because I'm such a goody two-shoe. I'm like, really, such a goody two-shoe. And I bid on this game at the auction at FallCon. And you know what? I get so excited at auctions. Maybe I just bid on everything. But it looked interesting. And then I was like, oh, that's a awkward theme. So, because in this game, you have one player playing as the Colombian cartel, and you're running your cartel trying to develop these labs where you can make cocaine, and then you'll have these little coca cubes, and you got these big white cubes on the map, and then you're trying to get these cubes into a city that has an airport so you can export them, and that's going to give you money, and then you're kind of, with the money you can kind of get more influence and do more things, right? And then you have like a team of people that are working with you, but you're trying at the same time to hide from the other players. So now we played this one 2 players. So one person was the California cartel or the Colombia cartel. The other one was everything else. So he was the DEA and the Colombian police and the Cali cartel. And it's like, so you're a group of all these other things. And they're trying to find the leader of the cartel so that they can stop him. 1 is to take over the business. Like 2 is just to arrest him and stop the drug trafficking, right? It was neat. Like that, honestly, like this, the mechanism in this game was so neat because you don't show where you're at, but you have a piece of paper and you keep track. I'm over here. But every time you bring somebody out onto the board, depending on, they have like a range, and depending on how close they are to the leader, they only branch out so far. Well, this one stays within 2 spaces of the leader. Okay, well, I'll put him here. So then that means the leader will be somewhere in this area. But then this one can be 5 spaces away from the leader. So you put him over there, and it's like, well, I don't know. Like, so trying to find the leader where he's hiding while this leader is trying to run his operation to try to get as much cocaine moved and exported out of the country to make more money, right? So the whole thing was interesting. And with well, let me go through the rating system. So conversation connection potential, I'm giving this one a 2 out of 5 because there's so much with like trying to figure out. So you're kind of busy trying to like looking and calculating, say, well, if he was there, and then you're trying to figure all that out. While the other one is like, okay, so I could send my guy there to do this, and I can try to move the cocaine over there, so. And you're not discussing this out loud because you don't want to reveal anything. So conversation, there's not tons and tons in this game. Getting to know you, again, I'm giving this one a 4 out of 5. It is interesting to see how somebody thinks and reacts. It's like, okay, well, I'll bring this guy out because he can do this. And then it's like, well, you put this one over there. It's like, so maybe like, and try to block this way. And it's neat. It is neat. Hurt feelings and conflict, 3 out of 5. This is a cat and mouse game, so it's frustrating if they get, and then you don't know where they're. I was like, are you cheating? So you could get a little bit like that. And I mean, you're definitely competing to be the one winner, right? And then the only way to win is definitely to make the other player a loser. So I will capture you so I can be the winner, or, I will stay away and sneak out so I'm the winner. So there's like, yeah, there'll be a winner, but then that means there has to be a loser, mostly in this back and forth. So then I'll show you another picture of the board all set up. So we had the rule book open because this was our very first time playing it. So we're kind of keeping track closely on that. And you had the board there. Now, there's different actions that you can do, but like it was limited. Like you couldn't do them more than a couple of times. So you're kind of careful. It's like, okay, well, so it was neat. Like you can't just be wasting your time searching everywhere. Like you have limited things that you can do, limited resources, right? To kind of dedicate to the search. Excuse me. And then on the board, you have like your lineup of characters for the one playing as the cartel, and then you have all your characters there, and then some of them have secret missions, and if you can complete the secret mission, you get closer to winning the game. But then you keep that face down, and then I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, and then I was like, oh whoops, I forgot that was on this guy. I thought it was on this guy, so I didn't do my secret mission because I brought out the wrong guy. And then each guy also has like a designated strength that you will randomly, but it's random, who you'll assign to, because the other player can come and attack and kill your characters, right? Trying to slow you down, trying to stop your operation. So the whole game works so well. It looks so good. I was so impressed with this. I think because of the theme, my expectations were low. But it was such a neat game, and as I mentioned, the mechanism in this game was so interesting that it was a lot of fun. I want to play again so that I can play as the other guys, and then see if I can find the hidden leader of the cartel. So now with this one, when we played this, we watched a movie first, and we're like, okay, that was kind of a neat movie. Let's go play this game, because along the same theme, make a whole evening out of it. So the movie we ended up watching is American Made with Tom Cruise. So Tom Cruise got recruited to do surveillance pictures in the southern countries in South America. And I mean, it was dangerous because he would have to fly low and take these pictures, and then they would shoot at him and all that sort of stuff. But then he was refueling and then got approached by the Colombian cartel, where no, we really want you to do business with us. So he was invited. I would say invited. I don't think there was an option there. He was coerced and forced into becoming trafficking for the Colombian cartel. So trafficking cocaine back into America. And this is all based on a true story. And this is a story of how he became and kind of develop the trafficking in the United States, but how it kind of all started with the government, and then the DEA got a hold of him and kind of found out what was going on. Said, well, you keep going undercover, and then they're trying to kind of get information so that they can stop and arrest a key player in this operation. This guy's but then it was funny. This is a neat movie, and I'm gonna say everything. I'll leave for some of you to figure out. But as twisted of a topic that this can be, this movie was interesting. And then the game was so fun. So the combination just made for an amazing evening. Next one that I talked about is The Captain is Dead. I love this game. This is a cooperative game, so you are playing together. The captain of the ship is dead. The warp core is broken. There's aliens on board, and you got to get that under control. And bad things keep happening, and you got to make sure that the shields stay up so you don't take any ship damage. And you got to fix the warp core, and you got to make sure you keep enough torpedoes to shoot at the enemies. And you got to navigate through this entire thing. And things are falling apart, and they're falling apart quick. And I love that in the game. I seem to love cooperative game that really beats you up. Don't know why. But this one is neat. And like, if you're like listening, it's like, that sounds like a similar, familiar theme. Yeah, it totally does. This is completely based on Star Trek, although not officially. But some of the stuff that comes up in there, the different characters and then how it all like looks, you can see the influence, but there's no official IP in place. So let's have a look at the rating on this one. So conversation and connection potential, I'm giving this one a 3 out of 5. First of all, you got to communicate because it's a co-op game. Things are falling apart, and you gotta be working on that. So there is that going on. But there's also so much going on that chances are the conversation is about how things are falling apart. Nobody's like, oh, how was your day? It's like, so there's that to keep in mind. In the getting to know you, I'm giving this one a 4 out of 5. It's interesting to see the type of decision that your partner does when things are falling apart and they're under pressure, right? It's like, okay, well, I'm going to go over there. I was like, really? It's like, so just going through that experience, it's interesting to see how somebody reacts and the decisions they'll make. Hurt feelings and conflict, I'm giving this one a 1 out of 5. Will you be frustrated? Yes, of course. Could you get mad? Oh, of course. Will it be at your partner? No, it'll be at the game. Because this is a cooperative game, so you both have the same goal, working together, trying to survive and fix the warp core and get out of there. I think I managed to win once because we had it on a fairly easy setting, and we misplayed it. We played some rules wrong that made it easier than it should have been, but that was the only time I won. But every time I play this game, I just love it. It is so neat. And I'll show you another picture here. So each character that you play as a character, and your character has different skills. But you need to collect more skills in order to be able to complete different tasks that needs to be done. As I mentioned, different things are happening. Aliens come on board. You got to destroy the aliens before, and he was like, you got to destroy the incoming ship before they create damage to your shield. So you want to make sure that you maintain the shield so that stays on high enough. You got to be able to. You want to keep your transport so you can kind of transport from one room into another. Otherwise, you're spending a lot of action just moving around the ship. You want to get and then fix the warp core. There's a lot going on with it, but it's a fairly straightforward game. It's neat. It's a lot of fun. It has a very strong pandemic feel to it, but it's great. So the movie I recommend for this one would be to match it up with Star Trek. What a coincidence. But this one, I'm calling it the first Star Trek. The first most modern Star Trek. So this one came out with this crew. Or these actors. You had First Contact that was earlier. That was also very good. That was a Star Trek movie. And then I watched the Star Trek TV series, like the original one from the 70s. Oh my god. There's a ton of episodes. We watched it an episode a night or whatever for a long time. It was so funny. I'm ridiculous, and it was so ridiculous it made it good. So I would definitely recommend if you want to watch the original series. But for an evening to kind of do a theme night, watch this movie. This is a great movie. Plus, it kind of matches that role fairly well. The captain has to leave the ship. We don't know if he's coming back. Is he going to be okay? Is he going to die? And then you have the rest of the crew trying to figure out, okay, great, well, what are we going to do? Who's in charge? And then all this stuff, right? So it kind of matches the theme of The Captain is Dead so well. Great movie and great game. So the last game that I'm talking about this month is Marrying Mr. Darcy. Oh, such a neat card game. This is a card game, and it is definitely based on Pride and Prejudice. And you will play as one of the characters from the novel, so you could be Elizabeth Bennet, or maybe you're the sister, or maybe you're Carolyn Bingley, or, you know, like, so you play as a different character from the book. And you have certain goals as to who your perfect match would be. And this whole game is trying to acquire the skill or trying to attract the attention of the gentleman so that you will receive a proposal, right? The whole thing is about trying to get yourself a husband. And you could sabotage the other players a little bit. But then, you know, so you have your cards would be like, okay, well, I'm going to give myself some beauty. So, like, you're increasing your beauty because I'm really trying to get a proposal from Mr. Bingley. And Mr. Bingley really appreciates either someone who's very nice or someone who's very beautiful, right? So those are the two attributes that he looks forward to. While Mr. Darcy looks for someone who's smart and witty. You know, like, there's different things that the male characters are looking for in a potential mate. You know, so you're trying to get those. I mean, don't do this in real life. But in this game, based on the Pride and Prejudice, oh, it's neat. It's fun. And you can't play this one without bringing out your worst British accent just because of the era. And it's neat. It's fun. And I mean, I've played this, me and Lee. It's like, so we're both trying to get ourselves a husband, and it's hilarious. Now let's look at the rating system. So conversation, connection, potential, 4 out of 5. Lots of opportunity to have a conversation. As I mentioned, it's going to be like silly talk and British accent possibly, but it's a lot of fun. Getting to know you, I'm also going to say 4 out of 5. It's just neat to see, oh, well, I'm going to be doing this. And then it's like how you feel is like, because I was like, I'm not becoming beautiful just for some guy. And it's like, you know, so it's interesting. Hurt feelings and conflict, I'm going to give this one a 3 out of 5. Just because you are competing for the attention of the same gentleman, possibly trying to get, you know, it's like, and then like I said, each character has one match that would score them the most, right? So maybe I'm Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy, a proposal from Mr. Darcy would benefit me a lot more, but I wasn't the first one to go through the proposal. Somebody else did, and they married him before I could get a proposal. And I was like, man, so who do I have left now? Well, you know, so there's that going on as well. So that's just another picture. So you have like the different cards and then what you can draw. There's event card. There's like things that'll add to your attributes, you know. So it's a silly, fun little card game. I quite enjoy it. Now, this card game also comes with 2 expansions, or my version came with 2 expansions. So I have the Emma version, but then I have the Undead version. And I've played the Undead version, and it was great. Great, great. We played it one time, so the one person ended up getting her most advantageous proposal. And then somebody bit him and he became a zombie, so she became an old maid. So she went from like top score to just oh my god, I thought she was gonna get so mad. It was hilarious. It's a neat game. So with adding that, kind of puts a whole different twist to it. That's really interesting. And I forgot to mention, like at the end of the game, once you've collected all the attributes that you can, you then go through the list of proposal that you could be receiving. And they would look at the bottom ones, well, okay, I don't have any of those attributes because I wasn't trying, so he's not interested in me at all. So we go to the next one. I'm not interested in me. Okay, well, this one is interested because I have the proper attributes. Now, he's kind of midway, so it's not a great score. And then you roll the dice. Oh, great, he proposed. So do I take the proposal? It's not a really good score. You can only take one proposal. Once you agree, you're off the market. So I really want another proposal. These ones are good candidate and have matched, so you'll get to roll for a proposal. So it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to accept this proposal. So you can never go back. You've turned him down. So you get to the next one. Okay, great. So I've matched those attributes. You roll the dice, and the dice rolls that he is not proposing to you. oh no, you've turned down the previous proposal. You're not getting a proposal from this guy. There's the next guy, which would be really great if he proposed. So I was like, oh no, does he propose? Does he not propose? If he doesn't propose at the very end, then you become an old maid and you roll the dice. Now, it could be that you're an old maid and you're burdened to your family and you're miserable and you have a horrible score. Or it could be that you become this great famous author and you actually get quite a bit of score for that and you make a happy life being an old maid on your own, right? Like, it's interesting. It's neat. Now, should you watch Pride and Prejudice with this movie? I mean, I would. I love Pride and Prejudice and I watch it regularly and I enjoy it. But it is my opinion that in a relationship, most of the time you have one person right into Pride and Prejudice and the other one is like, are you kidding me? And then they'll try to watch it, sure, but then they'll fall asleep to the whole thing. So I'm not going to recommend you watch Pride and Prejudice with this movie, with this game for your movie version. I'm going to recommend that you watch Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. And, okay, this movie sounds ridiculous, but it's actually really good. And it actually follows all the line of Pride and Prejudice. So all the neat lines and aspect that I enjoy out of Pride and Prejudice so much is in this movie as well. But they just happen to be fighting zombies throughout the whole thing. So now your partner's going to be interested too. So, and honestly, like I said, does it sound ridiculous? Yes. Is it? Kinda. But is it good? Yes, it was really good. I really enjoyed this movie. I have watched it more than once. So that was it for my my game movie combination for creating a game night date night. If you want to follow us on Instagram, my Instagram is Mel's_boardgame_room, and we're also Games and Couples. On Facebook, my Facebook page is Mel's and Friends Board Game Room, and there's also Games and Couple, Love in the Age of Board Game. YouTube channel, my YouTube channel is Mel's Board Game Room, and we also have Games and Couples, Love in the Age of Board Games. So be sure to tune in next month to see which games I'm going to make for the Game of the Week. Bye, everybody.